If you can throw a club, you can play great golf. Woo! Beautiful baby draw. And what we're looking at today is one of the most powerful downswing moves to give you consistency, tons of swing speed, and play the golf of your dreams. We all want that. We're looking at throwing a club. The motion of throwing a club makes a great downswing. The path of the club in the downswing is essential. The angle of this club when it approaches the ball needs to be behind the hands so the club can slingshot hard out towards the target. But for a lot of golfers, unfortunately, this club gets out over in front of the hands and heads straight down into the ground. Those two paths are wildly different. This one causes golfing misery. This one causes golfing happiness. And you could see this play out just with some one-arm swings. If I swing normal, that ball is going to go to my target. If I swing from this position back here, the way it should be. But if I try and swing like this, I'm getting a really terrible result. We call that an RTR, a doomsday hit. That's where this idea of throwing the club comes in. I'm sure many of us have thrown a club at some point. Have you ever thrown a club poorly? Does anybody throw clubs on the course poorly? You could see a slicer. You could... After this, the perfect move. Okay, yeah, so come on out and demonstrate, Mr. Cameraman. Usually a slicer. Just said a great point. He said, usually after doing this comes this beautiful throw. And do you see the path difference? Like, I'm going to slow this down so that everybody can see that that slice path versus the throw path. And I'm going to overlay this with the pro. And we're probably going to find that that is right where you need to be. And it is mind-blowing that after such a terrible swing, can come something so perfect and angelic. So we think about your downswing. I don't want you throwing your clubs ever again after today. I mean, you're going to get the idea of the throw, but once you start hitting it like that, the beautiful way you draw, you're not going to throw your clubs again because you don't have a reason to, unless you're celebrating. But those throws are usually just straight up in the air. Oops, couldn't contain myself. So what's the throw motion? I'm taking an alignment stick for everybody's safety and for the health of my PXG clubs. But the throw motion is sidearm. Ben Hogan talked about this. It's like you're doing a skipping a stone. But do I really need to tell you how to throw a club? Do I? Because I know many of you have thrown them already, like that. So you know the motion. You don't throw a club. You don't say, oh, I just hit a terrible shot and then go, like, that'll break your club. You know that. You wouldn't allow your club to break. But I've never seen anybody have bad form. Like, they don't just go, oh, that was a terrible throw, Tom. Like, you can throw your club better next time. No. Intuitively, you know that to get this to boomerang out there as far as possible, you know, with all your angst and anger, you're going to sling this thing. I would never throw it this way because it would never go. You got to throw it to go. That's why the perfect throw, if you want to get technical with the throw, first you need to have anger and angst about a shot for about 3 seconds. The second thing you need is your right arm tucked in. Look what the club is. The throw is going to be set up here. The shaft is shallow. The second thing you need is a shoulder to move the club to throw. So I take my right shoulder, I move it around my body, the anatomy of dissecting a throw. And then we have the release. So I'm storing the lag in the throw, and then you have this perfect full extension of that right arm. So this arm is going load, 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 throw. But if I just gave any average human being on the street this and I said, hey, sling this down towards target, I don't have to explain that to you. But for some reason, when I got a golf club in my hand and we're teaching golf, now it's all technical. But it doesn't have to be. So I'm going to take this throw concept, and I actually want you to pretend you're going to throw a club. So pretend you just hit a terrible shot, and then throw it. Then, when we add tilt to the ground, this is the only part that really is different. It's when we add the tilt. So I'm just throwing, look at that. Baseball players do the same thing. Even if they get the flying elbow, they still do this to hit the ball, no matter where they are. So level, it's easier level. I've never seen a baseball player go like this. When we tilt, you want the same throwing action. So we throw our alignment sticks because they are safer. With tilt, I'm probably going to hit the ground with this. So just got to get the sensation of when I'm tilted to the ground, how am I going to still throw it down range? So with the tilt, that's how you get the sweetest feeling in the downswing, which is shallowing the club. So I've got that sling, throw. Let's do it. What you should be seeing when you do this, I'm really exaggerating, the ball's going to start a little bit out to the right, and it's going to start drawing. But you should also see that when you start down, the shaft is shallowing to throw. So I'm throwing the club down range. Think about your right arm, your trail arm the whole time. Throw it. Wow. And you know, the secret to golf was always in our most angry shots this whole time. The throw. All right, cameraman, it's your turn.
I will try.
You sure?
One minute, watch.
He didn't consent to this. You know what? We won't do it.
No, we can do it.
You sure?
I don't care.
All right, all right. Well, I believe in you. Hit a ball first so we can get a baseline. Don't try and swing steep because you've been doing a lot better. Okay. So good shot.
Thanks.
That had just the slightest amount of steepness to it, but you didn't try to add that.
No.
Okay, good. So we're going to incorporate the club throw 3000. And as you demonstrated previously, you threw that thing really well. Give us your best. Wow. Nice. Even into the wind, it still goes. So we add the club, and we want to do on a level playing field first. Sling, throw, like sling. Look at that. Look at how that arm works. Yeah, and then the arm gets to straight. And it's shallow, and it's beautiful. Now with tilt to the ground, you've got your tilt. Your club's actually touching the ground, but I want you on the way through, you're going to still imagine you're going to throw from this tilted position. So when you get down, the only way you can throw from that position is really sideways. Let's see it again. Okay, good. Let's do it again. Look how shallow that club is. Now, I'm just going to add a little adjustment here. Go ahead and get your tilt to the ground. And we're going to make it more like that. So really letting, because he's here anyway. Like when you're standing up, you're here anyway with the club throw. So when you add the tilt, you're there still. You can see the challenge of going from level to tilt makes you feel like you got to hit this way, but you never have to change that. Just a disclaimer, when you switch from steep to shallow, you might hit some thin ones at first because your body is used to swinging steep, and then in the transformation of going to shallow, what happens is you're going to be fighting that old tendency of hitting down so much. So now we're not hitting down, we're hitting a lot shallower into the ground. So the consequence is that you could top some just because you're not used to this. So let's hit one.
One-handed.
Ooh, that's a good question. Two-handed. Let's just go right for the money. Throwing it. Oh. Well, that's cool.
Does that work?
Yeah. That was shallow.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi.
Right.
Hey. Dr. Evil.
I'm gonna walk away.
Hey. Yeah, please walk away. Good job. Everybody watching. Golf clap, polite golf clap for the Mitter Sir cameraman. All right, so we know what we're doing here. We just got to get that club shallow. Now, I've got some great drills in my free mini course, go.saguto.golf. 17 videos, 45 minutes of content to make you a much better ball striker. Check out the link in the description and comments below. Driver, it's going to work for the driver. It's going to work. It will, because the driver needs this the most. You need this under as much as possible with the driver to get the real sense of this. Now I tilt over the ground. Shallow it. So I'm just going to do a slow one of like a steep run. I'm going to go up, but I'm going to swing it. I don't have to go up with it, but just to give you an idea that if I wanted to throw this club, even from high arm position, I'd have to go like this. That's why it's easier when you swing the driver to keep it a little lower around your body, because you're already in that throw position. So we're just going to throw one now without throwing the driver too far. Nice. I'd say that worked out pretty well. And it was right on the center. The tee came out of the ground, which is very positive to see. I am just throwing this thing. Let's throw a party. Let's have a club throwing party across the world. That club just laying down a little bit. But I'm not thinking about it. And another thing, you get the arm staying tucked in, like you see this whole lag type of move just by slinging it. Throw my driver without throwing it down, without breaking the club. Wow. Just something intuitive that we do all the time. Well, if you're on the golf course, you see this all the time. And usually there's some four-letter word attached to it. Well, we can attach a much better word to it when we learn that take this club throw to the ground, and you're going to be striping the ball.